Time has come to say goodnight, for every road must end to the ones who care and are always there, our very special friends. Let's say goodnight to those we love, and maybe shed a tear. But before we close, let's think of those we love who can be here. Let's raise a glass to absent friends, for every road must end. You'll always be there in our hearts, our special absent friends. And when it's time for us to go and our long journey ends, you'll never be alone, you see. You'll be with absent friends. So let's raise a glass to absent friends, for every road must end. You'll always be there in our hearts, our special absent friend.
Every Rangers fan is a different day, which is special to them. The first goal you saw live at Ibrox, perhaps the first time you brought your child to our famous ground, or one of the many great highs that our beloved club has brought to each and every one of us. But there is a date which resonates with every Rangers fan, 2nd of January 1971. The year we commemorate our absent friends. The truth is, the 66 are never far from our thoughts. At its time, the 1971 Ibrox disaster was the worst disaster in British sport, and the effect of the disaster profoundly impacted not only Rangers, but Glasgow, Scotland and society as a whole. The memory of the supporters who passed away in 1971, plus the supporters who passed away in earlier Ibrox tragedies, have a special place in the club's history, and on the 50th anniversary of the 1971 disaster, we will come together to remember their lives and legacy. The foundations of our stadium, a constant reminder of those who are no longer with us, are matched by our resolve to ensure the memories of those tragically lost will be always remembered. The past, present and future generations of Rangers family are part of the institutional fabric of our beloved club. On the 50th anniversary of that fastly resolve that those lost, so deeply missed by family and friends alike, shall never be forgotten, and their memories will rightly and forever echo down the coming years of the club, as the stadium stands as permanent memorial to the victims of one of the darkest days within the bright history of Rangers FC. As chairman of Rangers Football Club, it is an honour and a privilege to speak to you today. At such a challenging time with COVID, we sadly cannot meet and commemorate this event as we would have liked. But rest assured, the 66 fans will be always remembered.
Today, on the 50th anniversary of the Ibrox disaster, in circumstances unimaginable even at the start of last year, we commemorate and honour the lives of those 66 people who were not able to gather here or at Glasgow Cathedral in the way in which we'd intended and planned. In this extended family of Rangers supporters, always remembered is our commitment to those who died, a commitment to the families and also to ourselves. The names shortly to be read out by today's players from the men's and women's teams by coaching and management staff are names of real people. Reading the names in this way shows how the manager, the coaches, support staff standing with us recognise the significance of the 2nd of January each year to the bereaved families, to supporters, and also what it means in the 149-year history of Rangers Football Club. The names read out are of people who are part of that Rangers story, just as much as those who are privileged to wear that blue jersey. We, the Rangers family of this great club, the players and directors, supporters like you and me, hold each of these names with compassion and affection, as we do members of our own personal families. For Rangers Football Club, they will be always remembered.
Every day I miss your smile. You're not alone. The 66 of you are all together. You did not come home. If I lay here, if I just lay here, would you lie with me in Ibrox Stadium? You went that day to watch your team. Now all is gone. But to the 66 of you, I promise we will follow on. If I lay here, if I just lay here, would you lie with me in Ibrox Stadium? I'd look up at the stars, hoping to see your face. I hope you smiled down at me and felt my empty space. So let's take time to remember them, our absent friends. And I'll keep your space beside me, and the Copeland stand. If I lay here, if I just lay here, then would you lie with me and Ibrox Stadium? I'd look up at the stars, I'm hoping to see your face. I hope you smiled down at me and felt my empty space. 'Cause all that we are and all that we'll ever be, 66 fans engraved in our history. I don't know when I'll see you again. You're always in our hearts, the 66 absent friends. If I lay here, if I just lay here, would you lie with me in Ibrox Stadium?
George Adams,
Hugh McGregor Addy,
David Anderson,
Richard Bork,
John Buchanan,
Robert Charles Cairns,
Robert Turner Kerrigan, John Crawford,
Thomas Dixon,
Charles Duggan,
Francis Alexander Dover,
David Cummings Duff,
Peter Gordon Easton,
Peter Gilchrist Farris,
Margaret Oliver Ferguson, George Crockett Finlay,
Ian Frew,
John Gardner,
Robert Campbell Grant,
Thomas Grant,
James Graham Gray, Adam Henderson,
Ian Scott Hunter,
Brian Hutchison,
George McFarlane Irwin,
John Jeffrey,
Andrew Jackson Lindsay,
Charles John Griffiths Livingston,
James Yule Mayer,
Russell Malcolm,
Robert Maxwell,
Robert McAdam,
Duncan Rearty,
David Douglas McGee,
John James McGovern,
Alexander McIntyre,
John McNeill McLeay,
Richard McLeay,
David Fraser McPherson,
Thomas McRobbie,
Thomas Melville,
Thomas Russell Mulligan,
Richard Douglas Morrison,
Robert Colquhoun Mulholland,
John Neal,
Alexander Patterson Orr,
David Ronald Payton,
Nigel Patrick Pickup,
William Mason Phillip,
James White Ray,
Robert Lockerberry,
Walter Robert Rayburn,
Matthew Reid,
John McInnes Semple,
William Duncan Shaw,
Walter Shields,
James William Sibbald,
George Alexander Smith,
Charles Sterling,
Thomas Walker Sterling,
William Thompson Summerhill,
Donald Robert Sutherland,
Brian Todd,
James Trainer,
George Wilson,
Peter Wright,
All Scotland was singing, sure the old here had died, and a new one had been born, as an eagle disaster from my ship spreading the news that would cause all nations to mourn. Two great goals had been scored there in the last dying moments. Jimmy Johnson for Celtic and for Rangers Coliseum. Their supporters all cheered him with voices of thunder, not knowing what waited on stage 13. 66 people died there, time and flower of their manhood, when the fancies gave way and the barriers they banned. She's in Glasgow, policemen with their faces all tear-stained, with brave efforts endeavored the world to prevent. All of Glasgow and join them for the first time in history in a Glasgow cathedral. No Bellingham, but the old faith united to pray for its victims in a tragedy worse than the memory of man. You did in ringing. Oh, Scotland was singing. Sure, the old year had died, and a new one had been born. As the news of disaster from Ibrox came spreading, news that would cause the whole nation to mourn. News that would cause a whole nation to mourn.
They lie silent, their voices are stilled, their lives cruelly cut short, but are not forgot. Hello, good evening and welcome to Rangers Radio. Join myself, Foxchair, on the panel is my mucker, Bridgeman. How are we doing, Bridge?
Oh, that was wonderful, by the way. I'm doing very well, thank you. But that was absolutely superb. Brilliant for yourselves and the technical team for digging that up. That was absolutely outstanding, by the way. Massive respect to all the guys, all the ones that passed away. Massive respect. Could have been me.
Yeah, I know we've talked about it before, Bridge, and it's a very emotive subject for all his bears, families, friends, and when you think about the guys that went and lost their lives, just going to watch your bears and the young lady Margaret Ferguson. But it could have been you. You were in that end, in that area, in that day, mate, and I know it's a very emotive subject for your good self.
Absolutely, that's where we all stood, just below Stairway 13. The squad were there, and oh goodness sake, you know, it's just when I can't even explain half of it. But they were when we were going out, because we stayed on till we saw when the Celtic scored, they started moving, you know, and we were sort of still standing there, living in hope as we usually do. And all of a sudden, Steam managed to get the ball. You could hardly see it, to be honest. It was quite misty, frost in the air and so on. However, you could hear the shouts from the back. No, stay down, push down. And everybody started pushing back down again. Well, not everybody, but the guys that could were pushing back down. So me and my mates all got stuck behind one of these barriers. And the crowd were finding our way around, except us. We couldn't get moving, you know. So... anyway, we managed to get out, and we made a beeline for right behind the goals and run up to the back and jumped to the big high fence and down the embankment to see what was happening. Oh my goodness!
For any youngsters that listening, Bridge, could you describe Ibrox then? You know, with the steep bank, the grassy bank.
Oh yeah, the Ibrox Stadium was it was just two huge big mounds. Sorry, there was four big mounds. Obviously the goal ends and the stand ends next to the stands, and that's where all the height, you know. So everybody, no matter where you went, coming from like say from Ibrox subway station, you had to walk upstairs to get in. You had to walk up the stairs. It's just like the stands the same, the main stands just the same for entry. You've got to walk up those. Well, I don't know how many stairs it is, 70 stairs or something like that. Something incredible. So that's what it was like. And behind the goal at Copland Road, that stand that is. So we managed to get away and across the stadium, across the terracing, and right up the middle behind the goal. We managed to go up the steps there and squeezed our way through. And there was threes, ended up with threes, and we jumped over the fence, and we went down the embankment sort of halfway. And when you see the photographs of where the metal, there's a stand, or shall we say, it's like a landing on the steps. So it was the steep banking was flattened off a wee bit there because it went with the stairs. And I tell you, it was a sin. It was an absolute sin. All these people just lying there. Incredible to see. And a couple of the boys that I was with, they couldn't cope with it. They just jumped out of the fence and ran down the stairs and away, you know. I hung on, and the guy still trying to pull people out, and we're getting them over the fence and onto the embankment to see if we could help them. And the medical people were there, and they managed to get them spot on. But there was only a couple that could do it, you know. It was very sad, very sad. And at the top, you could see people were still trying to pull the people off the top. It's just like I'm looking at a stairway, but instead of a stairway, it was people's heads, you know. That's what it was like. And at the very top, people were still trying to pull people off there. It was obvious the ones that were pulling off were kind of dead people, I mean, you know. Mm-hmm. And then the police came along and told the boys to leave it.
Move on.
Aye, that's all they could do.
Obviously, we've heard all the theories over the years, but main belief, and I think that was the outcome of the accident inquiry, it was just a freak accident, Bridge, caused just by circumstances, flipping the coin, somebody tripping, turning, and then the domino effect just and the barriers couldn't contain them. So it was just a freak accident, a freak second. If it had been a second either way, might know nothing heard about it. And we know how dangerous it used to be getting into these big crowds back in the day, getting in and out of football, particularly coming out of football matches.
Yeah, indeed. And you know, when we got down, I was ended up with another couple of boys, and was it 4 or 5 days we were walking down. One of them only had one shoe on, or what happened to it. And we were walking down, excuse me, just to where the main exit is now, you know, just walking down there. And there used to be gates there, and the gates were open to let everybody out. And there was a wee boy lying there, and they reckon this is a wee boy who fell off the father's shoulder and was trampled, you know. So that's what they reckon. I don't know if it's true or not, because it was a bloody sin, you know. And one guy went across to see if he could help, and a policeman was there about 5 or 6 yards away. He says, "You can't do anything for him, son, just leave it." And that's all they could say, the police. That's all the police would say. Just move on. You're doing everybody a favour.
They're helpless, mate. Helpless, you know, in circumstances like that, you know. Everybody's helpless. It's just, you deal with what you deal with. And then an area that's come across the city, I've got my intel to tell, but I know you try to make your way home. And again, for the youngsters in the modern world, even payphones weren't something that was readily available back in the early 70s. They weren't in every corner, were they?
No, they were not, pal. They were not. We were fortunate because we were heading to Govan Cross to get the subway. We bypassed the Ibrox entirely. We just went straight on down and went to Govan Cross to get the subway across. And went into one of the pubs. And Govan Cross then is nothing like Govan Cross as it is now, you know, because it's just entirely different. Excuse me. So we went into a pub, and we walked into the pub, and there was a report of 6 dead or something like that. And by the time we managed to get an order in to get a pint, it was up to 17, and it was 25, and then it was on. And you could hear the ambulances, ambulance sirens going, and the place was just mobbed. And I says to the guy, "Can I use your phone?" He says, "Nah." So I had to go across to Govan Cross. There was a wee phone box there, and I phoned my wife. And she was, because we weren't that long married, you know. So she was going mental, but she was up at her mother's. So when I got home, I was getting lots of hugs and kisses and so on and so forth, you know. And I would stop it, you know, leave me alone.
Sense.
But no, that's exactly what happened to us.
We've all got our stories and memories.
Absolutely, but
absolutely. Anyway, we've got a few people want to join us. So people want to join us. Remember what the show's about tonight, and we just wish that these people had happened and they were able to see our club as it is today. We've been joining. I think we're just waiting for a caller coming in, mate. I'll be right with you, Bridgeman.
No problem, pal.
But thanks for that, sharing your own personal memories. I believe we've been joined by Martin Steen, who's the son of Colin.
You're joking.
No, evening, Martin.
Mate,
evening. How you doing?
All right, mate. I'm sorry about this afternoon, but we knew we were going to talk about this evening, mate. And when you came on, and we had some plans already made, but obviously a very emotive day for not just your family because they were part of the match. So The floor's yours, Martin.
No, it's a highly emotional day for the whole family. But you know, it's the game today, anniversary, a fitting tribute that Rangers won. But it puts it in the perspective that, you know, it's not all about football.
No,
Fans lost their life and went to a football game and never came back, and that should never happen. So it's a sad day for us all. But they'll always be remembered. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think I think when we were close to the actual after the disaster had happened, the people had sort of shied away from it. They didn't know if it should be a memorial. They didn't know how to handle it. But as times have moved on, I think the way that the support, the club, and everybody involved in the Rangers family are handling the 2nd January as a fitting tribute to all them involved, Martin.
Yeah. And as well, you got hats off today to Celtic putting the reef out, and you know it got conducted in the right way, because it's life at the end of the day, and football to us is everything. Don't get me wrong, but there's more than football, especially today.
Here, mate. Here, and well, obviously your dad was involved in the actual game itself, and it something that it's not something you would regularly sit and talk about around the dinner table, but all he was doing his job and put the ball in the net, which he loved to do.
Yeah.
He's no blame or culpable in any accident that happened.
No.
You know?
It's I spoke to him today, and it's a very emotional day for him. As you could imagine. And it's very hard not just this year, every year.
Yeah.
He's never forgot any year that, you know, this has went past. So, and as myself, I mean, as a family, you know, it's just, you know, it's a very difficult time. And obviously a very difficult time for all the families involved as well.
Well said, Martin. Well said. Can you pass on your regards to everybody here at Rangers Radio to your dad Colin, and say that maybe when we meet up in Plymouth again, we might let him win a game of pool, yeah?
What a shocker.
What a being Fox hustled.
Aye. You know, when I'm one of the guys.
I think it made the day a wee bit easier for him when we actually won. So I think it was a fitting tribute to those that had lost their lives today. They never played well today, but a fitting tribute that we won today, and he would like to think that they dedicate that to the people who lost their lives and their families.
Here, mate, here. And I'm sure once we get rid of COVID, mate, the club have got plans to make a fitting tribute, and I'm sure we'll all be taking the time and effort. Bridge might have to get used to the pawn shop, and we'll make our way. We'll have to make our way to pay tribute to them all.
so much to say, isn't it? It's really incredible. Really, you know, can I just share sort of a wee story on this? Colin Steen signed for the Rangers, and it was around about 68, 69. I can't remember exactly when it was, wasn't it? 68 it was. And I remember sitting in my mother-in-law's house, because the wife and I were only gone together then. And the news came through, and I jumped up and I put my hand off the ceiling, you know. I was that happy. Colin Steen signed for us. So he was a wee bit of a hero, well, quite a bit of a hero to a lot of folks. And of course, his marvellous start in his career for Rangers, lots of goals. It was just tremendous, absolutely tremendous. And he was idolised. Can I assure you, his father was just really, really idolised. But I went away to work in South Africa, you know, And
well, it's funny.
I
Funny you should say that. I was talking to him last night, and we were talking about the whole scenario where I'm signing for Rangers. The Hibs manager at the time did not want him to sign for another Scottish club, and he was away for a meeting down in England to sign for Everton, and my dad didn't know what to sign for Everton, but he's in discussions. It was big money for obviously Hibs at the time, and he says, "No, I'm not." I think Mum was. They got my mum involved as well. She got thingied into it, and he was like, "Nah, it doesn't feel right. Don't know why." And then the next same day, Rangers made their approach, and the rest was history, because that's who you wanted to sign for, eh?
Brilliant, man. Listen, Martin, can I thank you for taking the time to come and join us here in Rangers Radio? We'll let you go, mate, because we understand it's a motive day for not just you or the Rangers family, but obviously be your family and the players that played that day being involved. We understand the emotions of running high. Thanks very much for taking the time, mate. We really appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for having
me.
And
give your regards to your dad for Ox and Fox, yeah? And yeah.
I will do. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.
All right. Cheers, Martin. Thanks very much.
Cheers.
All the best, Martin. All the best to you all.
All the best. Cheers.
Wow. Well, you never know a minute in this Rangers Radio, do you? You never know a minute, Bridgeman.
That's the truth, you know. And you know, Colin Steen's is virtually the same age as me. It's only about 5 months of difference. You know. Unfortunately, I'm the older one of the two. But I had a great friend I met in South Africa, and they came home and moved out to Linlithgow, or close to it, where Colin Steen lives. And Liam, his name was, he went to join the bowls. He was a great bowler, and so was Colin Steen. And they teamed up and done the doubles and the bowls and all that, you know. Mm-hmm. But nice stories, just memories. I'm
going to bring in Mr. Fox, mate, who is he's just coming off the ceiling. He's been up and down, run about over the emotion, but I know that I want to say a few words, because it will be a few words from the day about the 66 and his memories of that day. Evening, brother Fox.
Evening, Ox.
Did we ever get that tenner that Willie Johnson and Colin Steen when we beat them at pool?
No, they never pay out, mate, they too. Yeah. The one thing I would like to say is I would like to thank everybody that helped on that day, from the Celtic manager through to the ambulancemen and the policemen who sorted out the situation, and they all done a sterling job to get a absolutely tragic time under control. And that was my main thing I would like to say. It was different for me. I got out the ground before all that happened, mate, and didn't really know about it till later on. As you said, there was no phone calls. But my girlfriend, who was later to be my wife, worked in the stall under the old centenary stand, mate, and she had to come out and walk round the park with all the bodies on it, and I never felt right after that because I never got in contact with her. And just one of the things, so sad stories for everybody. I'd also like to thank Ian McCall and the boy, the Moonlighter on Rangers Media, who helped restore the graves of the fallen, and a big up to them as well.
Yeah, you're well said, mate. Well said, mate. I know, because you were at the game, it's something that's very, very, very emotive for you, mate. And thanks, mate. And thanks for helping put that together today, mate. All I did is edit it. You did the technical work on it. You know, school blue.
It's me and Tell Boys' pleasure.
We've been joined by a young Port Bear, who's obviously ages with myself. Who's obviously too young to remember the disaster, but I'm sure he'll have family memories and obviously what it means to the Rangers support. Evening, Port Bear.
How he's doing?
All right, mate.
All right, yourself, pal.
Aye, that was pretty emotional listening to you guys there, Fox and even Bridge, and even just sitting and listening to Colin Steensboy and Martin. That was, sort of brings it home. But as we all know, the 2nd of January is always a tough day for any Rangers fan, especially for the ones that have unfortunately lost people. 2nd of January 1971, no fan expects to go to a football game next day, then something like that happen. You just don't go to football and put them two in the sort of same bracket. Disasters happening, it just doesn't go together at all. 66 deaths, over 200 injuries, I believe. Countless families that just didn't know where their sons and daughters and that. Probably there's no mobile phones back then, so probably didn't have a clue what was happening. It must have been tragic, mate, watching it unfold, and obviously the news, whatever you were hearing back then. This is probably one of my tough, even though I wasn't born during the time, but obviously as a Ger, you're brought up knowing about it, and you pay your respects. It doesn't seem to get any easier every year for me. And obviously being part of Rangers Radio now, and your muckers were involved, so it sort of hits home for me.
All right, and some of the Rangers support have done some fantastic things for the 66 and so on, and as Fox already mentioned. And we've been joined by one of our heroes who keep things in perspective and try and remember all these people. And we've been joined by Big Stevie for the drum, who's got a particular connection to the Mulholland family. Evening, Stephen, how are we doing, brah?
It's a good evening. Have you a mixed day, mixed emotions today, guys, I got up first thing this morning, and me and some of the boys for the association met the boys for the Chapel Loyal, and we went up to wee Robert's monument, and we laid a wreath on behalf of the 66 and young Robert. And it was actually Jim, who you've had in the show. Yep. He was up with he laid the wreath on behalf of his own drum chapel. And some of the stories, I was listening to Bridge, and I can always remember my daddy telling me about the time he get home for the game. My granny at the time really killed him because there were no phones. Nobody knew where he didn't even know anything had happened. But a very mixed day today, but spent it with some cracking people and the stories, and my God, man. There was actually a guy who pulled up in the car. Jim knew him, and he was one of the guys that got his leg impaled with the railings. He was actually one of the injured people, and he was telling his side of the story and everything. And it's just
for those that are maybe new to the show. Can you tell people what you've done for Robert Mulholland and what happens? What you've done in the past? Obviously, COVID's killed this year, yeah.
Aye. Well, what it actually is, it all came about an ex-soldier, a guy called Joe Burke. Me, Robert, originally for Drum Chapel, but he moved to Partick, and Joe had an idea about, he wanted to do something for him because he knew Robert. And what he decided to do at the time was get a bench and put it in Victoria Park, because it was kind of halfway between Drum Chapel and Partick, and he put a bench there, but sadly to say, get the dark side got a hold of it, and it got fixed up again and that, but it's not been touched since. But Joe contacted, found out where Robert used to stay up in Jedworth, and he got a wee monument done, and he kind of handed the baton to myself. So every year now, we march up there at Remember Robert, and we lay wreaths every year for him, but we have a wee parade for him, invite the family. It's actually Mandy Mulholland who we're in touch with, and that's our uncle, so it's every time we all get together, there's no dry eye in the house when we talk about the young boy, But the wee monument's up there in Jedworth Avenue in the Drum, and it's only about 3 closes away from where Robert stays. And we go up there every year. We take our associate, the Rangers buses, and all the bells, the Drum get together, and we make a wee day out for him, and we don't forget him. And we've had a lot of good media about what we do and stuff like that, But no, we're proud and privileged to do that for a young bear. So, as I said, you got there with Rangers guys like Jim Smith, who, my God, man, I think he's been to 60, 70 European games away from home, and it's just amazing, the stories. And, you can't buy experience, guys, and when these guys are talking, you're listening. I just get caught up with, being a bear. But we'll never let Roberts then go. He's a wee Chapel boy, and I know everybody else, like the Mark Inch boys and all that, they do all their bit and stuff like that for them, and it's a sad day for all the Bears. A really mixed emotion days, but I'm glad the Rangers won the day for them all. But that's what we do, Ox. We do that every year, and I can remember the year Rangers Radio helped us out, by letting us use their badge to kind of fund the parade, because it's, it's quite a lot by the time you hire bands, food, and everything else, halls and discos and stuff,
The badges were popular, big man. The badges were popular.
Aye, well, they were the half, aye. But maybe get another wee run done in them. That would be all right with the boys at some point, But no, guys, a mixed day. I mean, they're the Bridge. I mean, guys like Bridge and Jim Smith and that, they were really young, obviously, when stuff like that happened. And man, it doesn't bear thinking about going to a game and most of your pals not coming back. They 5 boys with Mark Inch,
I know, mate. Unbelievable. I'm working on Bridges' autobiography at the moment, mate, and I've not worked out when he moved from Brighton, Maryhill, Drumchapel, and he kept moving, mate. I've not got to the cause yet, but there is a root cause, and I'll let you know when I find it.
What a shocker. What a shocker you are, by the way.
So he has Bridge, isn't he?
Police protection.
I'm working on it.
Can also just say, Ox, the programme that was brought out there by the BBC, Jim done a 40-minute stunt up at Roberts Memorial, and I was talking to Jim the day about it. He says, Steve, I was up here for 40 minutes. They were doing every angle, asking me all the questions. I'd done it. They contacted Jim and just told him they were just going to concentrate on the Mark Inch boys and the Lassie. They were just going to concentrate on them rather than Robert and all. So I don't know what happened there. It was all editing and stuff. But Jim was interviewed by the BBC as well as the boy Ian and that, it was all on it. But I'm really, really just privileged every year that we can go up there and remember a 16-year-old bear with a drum, And I take it everywhere else.
And you know that if you need any support, or anyone need any support, well, we're here.
Yep, 110%. I know that, guys. So that's what this platform, again, people need to get into the deeds. This is where you phone up. This is where you do. You're talking about the Glasgow Rangers. No Snide, Radio Clyde, and forums like that. Twist what you say into their own bubble, the BBC and stuff like that. I mean, I'm no one to get into politics and whatever, but you seen the way that programme ended. They were trying to blame Rangers in some sort of way, and guys like Jim and that would never have had them like that, and they would have put up that, This is a platform, guys, and thanks again. And I mean, I know I'm part of the show and I come on every now and again, but I'm waiting on my contract coming through, which will come through very shortly. I'm no doubt the new year.
It'll be there. You must have got it at the back end of last week. They were all sent out for everybody's new rates of pay and all that.
I must have been paid off then, Because I never got it.
Port Bear, you would have got that at the same time you got the invite to the Christmas night out, Port Bear.
That's right, mate, you're right.
Anyway, we've been joined by Mark from Cumbernauld. How are we doing, Mark?
He's alright, Mark. How are we doing?
Alright, mate.
Mark, how are we doing?
How are we doing, Mark?
Alright, Mark. What's on your mind, Mark?
What a victory. What a day. Especially for the 66.
Well said, Mark. Well said. Port Bear?
Aye, sad day, but the same vein of you, point of view, Oxshire, a great day for Rangers, with the result, and I hope that, helps to cheer people up today. It certainly cheered me up today, understanding the 2nd of, January. But you got to remember, Oxshire, Rangers were at the forefront after that disaster, in safety. With rebuilding the stadium, they actually transformed the stadium to make sure something like that would never happen again. So a lot of credit's got to go to, Rangers for, being at the forefront of health and safety and sorting the stadium out after what happened. So sad day, but great result, mate. Great result.
And the Rangers support, who obviously through the Rangers pools, Bridgeman, funded the building of a new stadium, yes?
Oh, absolutely, pal. Absolutely. But that was the most successful private pools in the country from a footballing perspective. The most successful. Taking a fortune. I don't know how much it cost originally to build Ibrox. I know it was a lot smaller than it is now. I don't know how much it cost, but I don't know, £100,000 or something. But it was all done by that. I can't remember the boy's name that ran the pools. Adams.
Hugh Adams.
Yeah. So well done to him, and well done to all the bears that put in it. My two uncles were they sold the tickets, the Rangers pools tickets. They went into work, worked in all these big power stations, just sold a whole load of them, And it was great because they shouted the numbers out. You get the numbers right there for your pools. There you are, you're done. Brilliant.
Very emotional day, Mark. Obviously the result helps, but I'm sure we'd all rather had the 66 people would have come in for the match, but we can't change history. We've just got to deal with it, and we don't sweep anything through our history under the carpet, Mark.
No, but I'm sure they're looking down on this the day. I'm sure they helped us today.
Yeah, mate.
And in their way.
Listen, we know it's a motive day, Mark. Thanks very much for joining us here. We'll speak to you soon, brother, all right?
Cheers, Ox.
Cheers, brother.
Thank you, right? Thanks for the call.
It's not easy, Stevie. Emotions are running high, and I was all right till Fox played that second tune. Oh dear.
I know. I'll tell you, I mean, I'm not one to compare it, but I've been to Belgium and France doing the tours, and you go to the Menin Gate and the Belgian Fire Brigade plays the last post, and I'm not kidding you. There's people from New Zealand everywhere, and there's no dry eye in the house. And I'm going to touch on something. I don't know if any of you've seen it today, but Sky done a lovely tribute, and there were a boy sitting on one of the staircases, and my God, man, I had a big lump in my throat. Listen to the boy, I was really caught up, You're a bear, you're waiting and your team coming on, and you're looking at these boys, and it doesn't even bear what their parents went through, never mind what they went through and everything else, It's absolutely, bag of mixed emotions, as I say, Docs, really is. Bag of mixed emotions a day for the Bears. But I'm just glad the boys got the 3 points for them today, but it being the 50th anniversary. But absolutely brilliant.
And if you need any help with your relationship counselling because of what happened earlier on, just let me know and I'll help you out, yeah?
You're a bad man, so you're a bad man. Bridge, he's a bad man, isn't he?
Man's a shocker. He's a bigger shocker than... There's nobody else with bigger shocker than him. Seriously, nobody else.
I done vibes. That was all I done. Anyway,
I can imagine.
We've been joined by Gary from Corby. Evening, Gary.
Good evening, everyone. How are we?
How are we doing, mate? Happy New Year to you, first and foremost, mate.
Happy New Year yourself to your Ox and everybody else.
Well said, Gary. Thank you very much.
Not a problem. I think my heart rate's just come down about 6 hours after the game finished. That was a nervy game of football to watch. I think my heart rate was about 120 beats throughout the whole game. Just really over the moon.
We're only talking about...
I know. I'm
going to the game after 9 o'clock, mate. After 9 we'll come.
Right, okay. Well, I wanted to bring that on to why, just the reason for the show tonight is my old man's 66, and he was 16-year-old when the disaster happened, and he's always brought me up, same as every other player, to always remember. You know, those that went to a football game and didn't go home. And he's always told me a story of the morning of the game. And as a boy he went to college with, called Tam Grant, and he asked him if he wanted to go to the game. He had a ticket, and my dad said he couldn't go, didn't have the money, and he said he wanted to go, but he just couldn't afford it. And Tam Grant went to the game and didn't come home. And my dad said, you know, if I had the money, who knows what would have happened to him. So, you know, thank heavens my dad survived. But I always think about those people who were before my time that, you know, just a game of football, innit? Do you know what I mean? And you couldn't imagine what was going through people's heads in that crush. You know, the hundreds that were involved, not just the 66 that died, and the hundreds, if not thousands, of families and people and friends and colleagues that, you know, throughout the city, and the panic that people must have been feeling, you know, with the lack of communication, not being what it is today. You know, people just gone to the pub after the game and not realising there was a disaster, and not going home until hours later, and their wives would have been up to high door. Do you know what I mean? You could not fathom it, because it wouldn't happen like that nowadays. And it must have been horrific, you know, a disaster in the true sense of the word. So my heart goes out to everybody, and I'm glad that as a club we could do ourselves proud and get that result today, which is really insignificant, but, you know, it's fitting. It's nice.
Well said, John, man. Well said, Bridgeman. Huh?
Absolutely right. You know, if you try and think about it, you end up going into the depths of it, and your mind starts to go mental, because there was thousands and thousands of communities were affected with that 66 dying. Thousands and thousands of communities. We took to communities all over Lanarkshire and things like that. You know, their cousins lived in an air place and so on and so forth. It's just incredible. Just incredible. And it's sad day. Sad day. I know I still get emotional, as you can imagine. My wife comes up and shakes me the shoulder. Hey, snap at it, you know. Dead easy.
At least she stops hitting you in the chops, Bridge.
Well, that's
Stevie, but it's your responsibility as fans to make sure collectively, along with the club, that these people are never ever forgotten, and pass the stories on to the generations. Obviously, people who's not been involved, you're a bit young, but you've still got a responsibility to the history of the club.
Oh, 100%. I've took it for Joe, and I'll be passed it on to hopefully my boy, to make sure these bells are always remembered in the most dignified possible way. You know, that could have been. I remember. I'm not one to get off here. I remember going to the old Time Castle and the one exit. You get lifted off your feet. Most of the grunge you went to, you were getting lifted off your feet with the crowds going out. I used to be frightened with my skin. I used to leave Tynecastle early because of beware of the pickpockets or in the play, and you try to get through that one bit, and it was quite frightening. So, and a wee way you're there, but getting back to that, 100%, it's down to the younger generation to make sure we pass the baton on, and these people never get forgotten about. And just on that again, the club had sent out, like Jim was showing me his badge he got, the club sent him a lovely letter and a badge because they were all at the game. All the guys that were at the game or had some kind of involvement in what happened. The club sent him out a lovely badge. The badge that was on the big door next to the John Gregg statue, and it was really nice. And Jim said the letter was absolutely beautiful, Stevie. So the club's doing their part, and it's up to us guys to pass the baton on to the younger generation to make sure stuff like that will never happen again, and make sure the 66 bells are never ever forgotten about.
Well said, Pat. Well said. You know, you mentioned Tynecastle, and you sort of got lifted off your feet and so on and so forth as you were coming out. I used to get lifted regularly at Tynecastle. It's so was guys wearing dark blues, you say.
That's why you kept moving, Ox. That's why you kept moving.
Chapter 3, mate. Chapter 3, that's mentioned. Anyway, we'll be joined by James from Tennessee. Evening, James.
Good evening. Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year, mate. Happy New Year.
You too, James.
You too, James.
I'd just like to give my respects to the people who died in that tragic accident and the families and condolences. I was at that game actually, and I was at the bottom of the stairs when Collinstein scored. I was trying to go up, but it was too busy. I just left. I didn't know what had happened till I went home. But it just goes to show you that you don't know when you'll be taken by God. You know, I'm a bit of a Christian, and you've always got to be prepared to meet God. And it's just a very sad time. And I think Rangers do a great job, and the supporters are doing a great job by remembering people who have died, that we'll die ourselves one day, and people, our loved ones, will cry for us. But I just want to respect these people who died and their families, and what you guys do and the programmes you do. I didn't hear the first part because my internet wasn't working, but I'd just like to give my condolences to the people, the 66 who died. Will never be forgotten.
I'll tell you what, don't listen to it without a box of tissues next to you. Port Bear.
Aye, indeed, mate. Do not. That was emotional, let's just say.
Last time I was in the final episode, the final bit of the champ.
Well, I was about to say that, D-Hawks, as a champ, and the wee boy with a blown 10 runs into his dad. I think that's the worst I've ever been. But that was pretty close.
Very, very emotive. But we had to pick ourselves down in 1971, get ourselves back together again, and we've done it. And as a club, we went on and arguably our greatest triumph 15, 16 months later. And this season, if we can keep it going, we'll be up there. Big Stevie.
100%. Aye, you've just got to pick them. You've got to as a club. I mean, the stories there were absolutely fantastic about every player went to every single funeral. You know, you've just got to pick yourself up as a club and a support and go on there, and just hopefully this happens again, and we take it on for there.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I was at the Barcelona in '72 as well. So a year or so later, you used to be trying for Barcelona, which was fantastic. So it was a great experience. Rangers winning the Winners' Cup final. Although I get hit with a Spanish policeman with a wooden baton, that was a bad thing. But everything else is fantastic.
To be fair, that doesn't make Bridges' book, because that wasn't unusual for him to be hit with the head with a policeman's baton.
What a shocker!
Oh, sorry, you back, Bridge? You back? Right, okay, right. Last word of the evening on the 66. I'm going to ask Big Stevie for the drum to do it. Stevie?
Look, there's nothing much else we can do as Bears is just stick together as a club. We're galvanised, we know we're on our own, but to me, I'll always be part. There'll always be part of every time I go, and that's where I stand every game at the top of the wee stairs as you come up to the Copeland Road. I stand there, talk to my pals before I get in. You know, you've all got your wee routines. You touch the top of the turnstile on the way out and all the rest of it. I just know our club's going to go from strength to strength now. We're going to look after each other. We're a Rangers family, and these 66 boys will never be forgotten. I'll be very interested when they're opening they're going to open the new museum and stuff like that, and hopefully there's something named after it, and probably will be, because you heard what the chairman and the board were saying, the 55 means a lot in the 66, you know, so there'll be something in the pipeline. But going forward, guys, we just need to keep remembering who these boys are once a year and doing it in the best possible manner.
Yeah. All right.
Can I ask a quick question of Stevie?
Yes.
Just one question. Stevie, is there any chance that, for instance, the history of it is catered for within the museum area of Rangers?
That's what I'm saying, Bridge. I just thought, I'm hoping that at some, hopefully at some point, you've got guys like Ian Locke there that were all interviewed and party it and about it. Hopefully, maybe they guys there know something about maybe what's going to be in the museum and stuff like that. It's part of our history. I take it would be, but I hope that they've done something really, wow, outstanding for the 66 Bears.
All right.
Well said. Well said.
Get yourselves a mute. We're going to have a tune. Then we're going to talk about the game.
Well, I've never felt more like singing the blues when Rangers put 5 past Dean and the Rangers. Cha-cha, cha-cha, you got me singing the blues. When McAvenny scored the first, the beggars thought it was the first of many Rangers. Cha-cha, cha-cha, you got me singing the blues. It didn't take long to realise when Super Ali equalised. Oh, Rangers, cha-cha, cha-cha, you got me singing the blues. Then up stepped Super A. It was a 30-yarder all the way. Oh, Rangers, cha-cha, cha-cha, you got me singing the blues. Well, I've never felt more like singing the blues when Rangers put 5 past Dean Andrews. Oh, Rangers, cha-cha, cha-cha, you got me singing the blues. Then Andrews claimed he couldn't see when Super Ali made it 3. Oh, Rangers, cha-cha, cha-cha, you got me singing the blues. The Ibrox fans, well, they wanted more when Kevin Drinkle made it 4. Oh, Rangers, cha-cha, cha-cha, you got me singing the blues. Well, I've never felt more like singing the blues when the Rangers put 5 past Dean Andrews. Oh, Rangers, cha-cha, cha-cha, you got me singing the blues. Well, Ibrox Park, it came alive when the bold Mark Walters, he made it 5. Oh, Rangers, cha-cha, cha-cha, you got me singing the blues. When Bella McNeil went home that night, he said to his wife, the Celtic are shite. Oh, Rangers, cha-cha, cha-cha, you got me singing the blues. Well, I never felt more like singing the blues when Rangers put 5 past Dean Andrews. Oh, Rangers, you got me singing the blues. You got me singing the blues.
Cha-cha-cha-cha. Oh, Rangers, cha-cha-cha-cha, you got me singing the blues.
A wee announcement here. Listen to this, Big Stevie. Jodie will be joining us live to give us a few numbers at some point in the next few weeks. I think she's looking to do a duet with the bridge. What do you think, Stevie?
Brilliant. Brilliant. Rogers.
Islands in the stream, eh?
Brilliant. You're getting better.
Me and Fox got a second of Caracas for my Christmas. I think we've been doing that Jodie is coming on to join us. She will be on the show in the next few weeks. It'll be great to hear from her. She's going to do some numbers for us live. Brilliant,
absolutely,
Bridget.
yeah. Absolutely superb. Rangers getting better and better known, shall I say, out with the club. Brilliant, just brilliant.
Big Stevie.
Oh, yeah, that'd be brilliant. The lassie comes on. If she needs a bit of percussion to back her up, I'll be on there with my flute, no problem. Yeah, we'll be getting rid of the coffee table. We stick, there's a few big Jody Logan, he's a drummer, we can all back the lassie up, no problem. But, happy days, mate. That's a lovely singer, the lassie, yeah.
Brilliant, bro. But I just think that she only wants to come on and do a duet with Bridge with you. Poor bit.
Aye, well, he's the best singer of all, isn't he? Let's be honest.
The voice of an angel.
Yes, definitely is, mate. Bridge.
Hey, Port, you just wait, boy. You just wait. could you not do auditions for the singing? Do auditions?
Arithmetic was never anything to do with me, pal. I was never good at
auditions. Like
yourself,
the X Factor.
You could ask every caller to do an audition, like myself, maybe to sing, because I'm quite a good singer.
Oh, very modest of you, James. Very modest of you.
Song, James.
So the one with Judge Justin, Stevie.
Of course.
Oh yes,
please.
Oh,
I never felt more.
You got me singing the blues. I never felt more like singing the blues. Oh, Rangers, cha-cha-cha-cha, you got me singing the blues.
Who told you were a good singer? Your mom?
Listen, I went to singing lessons. I went to singing lessons in Giftnock, and this guy said I was a wonderful singer, but my son said I'm not very good, but I've tried.
I think you should listen to your sons.
Aye, your poor mom is ripped off.
Aye, I can just hear the guy. You're a wonderful singer. You need 10 more lessons.
Well, that's what they said. They was taking me for my money, but I try and play the guitar as well here, but that's a struggle sometimes as well.
Well, I'll stick to the guitar.
Yeah, you haven't heard me.
Bridgeman's got the voice of an angel. There's no many of them about. Is there, Stevie?
Not at all. I don't put that folk bells laughing at. He does what he's sick in the police station.
Shocking, isn't it?
No, Stevie, no.
Thank God Jesus doesn't stay in Europe. I'm not in the Eurovision Song Contest. It's like an entry, though.
Brilliant.
We've had some comments in about your. We've had some comments in about your singing, James.
What did they say?
You don't want to know, James.
I'll sing the Tennessee Waltz to you.
Oh, please. I'll join in with you.
Tell you what, please change that for the last waltz and we'll drop you.
That's what happens when I'm trying to chat up a girl when I ask her out. She wants to drop me.
Well, I'm not very good at that. I never had any part. Too shy, me.
Too shy, aye.
Aye, right.
Too shy, you mean?
Right, well, all right. Sad day, Big Stevie, but a fabulous result.
Oh, 100%, Fox. Though I'm just glad the Bears got across the line and got the victory for the boys of 66, you know. Listen, I was like most Bears today. We looked like a team that never played together that first half. I was hoping for the referee to blow to get us in at half time, for Gerrard to rip them apart and do what he has today. It couldn't have been any worse the first half, guys. You know, I'm just glad. I'm really glad we got the victory, but dearie me, I couldn't see, but we couldn't do the simple things today at the start of the game. We couldn't find our men. We couldn't hold the ball. You know, all the things that we're normally good at, we just couldn't do. But, dear, aye. I'm just glad they done it for the 66 boys of the Ox. I really am.
Well said there, pal. Well said.
James, did you manage to see the match, mate?
Yeah, I saw the game with my son. We were saying that Celtic were pressing us all over the place. That's the way to play against Rangers. They were pressing us, and that was putting us off our game. But the main thing is we got 3 points, and my son and myself hugged each other and jumped up and down when the final whistle went. But it was a good victory, and it puts the pressure on them. We put them to the sword. I think we just need to keep winning, and the 55 will be coming our way. I'm going to
I'm going to do a video from Tennessee, so I might be singing a wee bit, so I'll send it to you. But a celebration video, 55, and might do the conga or something.
Did you get that message yet? I've just sent you my address.
No, we'll do a celebration, 55.
Hello, we've been joined by Henry. How we doing, Henry?
I'm brilliant, guys. I'm in.
You're in?
You're in, mate.
Listen.
You need to stop swearing now, Henry.
No, don't swear.
It was a great result, then. Great result.
First and foremost, let's show a bit of respect for the John Gregg Memorial and everything that the Glasgow Rangers do, If that's okay.
Here, mate. Here, well said.
Brilliant, man. The guy's respect for me is just immense. I'm just waiting to see if anybody else is butting in.
All right, we'll butt in for you. Gary, you've been quiet there. Obviously, James's singing's got to you, mate, but I can understand that.
I've been singing for a bit myself. I'm kind of losing my voice.
And you come, Gary? No, we lost Gary.
He's ran away because James is singing.
Oh, James's singing's got him in back.
Yeah. Hello. Is that Gary back?
Is Gary back? No, he is not. No, we've lost him. Big Stevie. It's an emotional day for everybody,
Oh, it's not half. As your caller came on there quite rightfully said, first and foremost, we've got to, you've got to kick things into touch. The respect and the respect thing's got to come through before any flip-the-mac,
I'm here now.
I've said it before, and that again. Our club normally get it 100% right. The way they do things and go about their business is usually that's what makes it unique.
Somebody's come into the door. Oh, it was Southside. He'll turn that off. Right. Carry on, Stevie.
No, just as I was saying there, the caller was quite right. He came on. The first thing he mentioned was the respect thing, That's how it's got to be. As I said, our club normally do everything spot on, bang on. And, long may it continue, and get the victory of the day for the 66 was just the icing on the cake, You look to the heavens when the final whistle went. James said he cuddled his boy. I was doing the exact same. I was cuddling.
You were cuddling James's boy?
No. I said I was doing the same as what James was doing with his boy. I was cuddling my wee boy.
You watch, mate. You need to watch. We've been joined by Southside. Yeah, evening Southside.
Good evening, guys. How's it going?
Southside, mate.
Good, guys.
Hey, guys, you can go with me.
We'll be right back. Henry, we'll be right back to you, mate.
No problem.
Yeah, I enjoyed the first hour of the show, guys. So it was a fitting tribute. And it was nice to hear and obviously listening to the stories and that. And it's always something that comes to your memories at this time of year. Something I thought it was well done. I think the club's done a lot under the circumstances. I've watched a couple of the videos. So, guys, and obviously getting the 3 points today was the icing on the cake,
Here.
Oh, can I ask Southside a question?
On you go, Gary.
No, Stevie.
Oh, Stevie, sorry, mate. On you go, mate. Sorry.
Southside, was that you? It was letting the fireworks off a couple of years ago.
No comment, Southside. No comment.
Stevie.
You've got a right to reply.
I'm here now, Ox. Can you hear me now?
Very silent.
I'm good.
Southside, didn't you come, mate? Answer that.
Can I speak to my client, Ox, dear? Southside,
Yes.
say nothing, mate. Say nothing.
I must admit, it was a nice wee display of Union Bells put on Southside. A wee joke there, mate, because you're from that side of the water,
I seen it.
Very good, mate. Very good. And 10 for keeping your gum shut. You're not like that Port Bear.
I know. It's easy to learn. It's
Don't tell them your name, Pike. Don't tell them your name.
Tell them your name, Pike.
You stupid boy.
Oh.
And you come, Gary Valentine. And you come, Nick.
Yeah, I had a nightmare there on my phone. I don't know what was up. Yeah, no, the game today was a weird one, wasn't it? It was, I knew within the first 10 minutes, like all of us, that we just weren't at the races. I thought Aribo wasn't very good in the first half, to say the least. I thought Kamara done all right, but standout player for us today was McGregor. Without him in the first half, the game would have been gone. But better in the second half after the change. But no pulling up any frees. I think we done as well.
Balogun was the man.
Aye, Balogun done well at the back as well. But just like somebody said earlier, it looked like a bunch of players that had never played together, and I think that sums it up. It was and we were overrunning midfield. I think that was clear. Because
if I can bang for you guys, if you don't mind.
Go for
second time caller, right? I was on a couple of weeks back saying Rangers don't know how good they are, right? But Kent is really missing. He's really missing. This double step over and running at Nibdy takes Rangers nowhere. He gives the ball away far too much.
He's not been great the last few weeks.
I was listening to your afternoon conversation with the guy for doing South, and he summed Rangers up to a T today. He summed it up to a T. Rangers were no good today. They weren't bad. They weren't good. Celtic were at their best. But come on, we are there. As I was on here, my first time about a month ago, I says to you, this Rangers team don't know how good they really are. But we just dropped it today. For what reason, I don't know. Was pressure on the boys?
I don't know. Could have been a lot of things. Maybe Celtic got their tactics a bit maybe better in the first half than we did, Port Bear.
Aye, Oxchair, I've been looking at the game a wee, thinking about it today, and they did to us today what we did to them at Parkhead in the last game. And I'm wondering today, and I know we played poorly first half, and I really do, but it was like, I'm wondering if Gerrard was doing a bit of robot mate.
Miss Jack and Ross, definitely. For the deep. Steve Davis can't carry this Rangers team much further.
No, Davis is one of our main men. You're right there, Henry. Yes. Carry on, Port Bear.
Aye, but, a wee bit of robo-dope for Steven Gerrard today. I know the team played pretty poorly, Oxchair, but I'll tell you one thing, what did we learn for today? Celtic threw everything at us, but the kitchen sink, mate. Absolutely everything at us.
It was a full bus.
They threw everything at us, and we still beat them 1-0.
Had you on for the start and brought Kent on as a sub. I would have shored up that midfield because we were certainly lacking in depth in midfield. We've got some of the best players in the midfield. Kamara, they're just superb in midfield, man. Come on.
Right, well, cheers, Henry. Some good points there, mate. Some good points. Big Stevie.
For me, Ox, there is some good points there. For me, it was a game of two halves. The first half, McGregor pulled off some great saves for us. We just weren't doing the basics good enough. And once we came out in the second half, I think the sending off was a changing point in the game. Once that happened, we were always looking on it. I thought we were the better team, and it was just a game of two halves for me. But that's a sign of how far we've came. Not playing well, getting the 3 points and a clean sheet. And let's give Connor Golson and Big Balogun a shout out, because I thought the two of them done absolutely fantastic. And one of the other pluses for me, I don't know if any of you noticed during the wee Stramash we had, the wee Stramash, 10 out of 10 to Aribo and Kamara for getting a hold of Ayer and McGregor. And they were letting them know what it was about. And I liked the fact that they get a wee bit angry and they were up there in their faces. Normally you don't see them like that. And I watched it again and they were right in about it, so they were. And what about your man Brown, kidding on, he get punched and all the rest of it? I mean, it's all handbag stuff, isn't it? That's a captain, a Celtic captain. Kidding on, he get punched, trying to get somebody sent off. an absolute joke. But that was a changing point, guys. Let's be honest. It was a game of two halves. They were the better team the first half. McGregor pulled off a few good saves. Second half, the second half was a changing point, and we always looked more lightly. And we got the goal. Fair enough. The ball we knock on for Aribo. It hits the boy's arm. Let's be honest. It hits his arm and goes into the net. If he's by the post, it's a penalty kick. Well, it should have been. Whether the referee seen it or not would have been another thing. But that was the game summed up for me. But again, 3 points, no goals against, and another box tick, guys, and we move on. And just, it was just meant to be. It was meant to be. The 50th anniversary, I was there. It was just meant to be for us. The way we played and how things panned out, it was just meant to be. And I don't think there's any. We're all happy bears, surely, tonight. We really are.
Bridgman.
Yeah, we're definitely all happy bears, and that's for sure. I have to say that I had my fears during going halfway through that first half, because it looked as if they were just camped in that big chunk, and we were up at the wherever it was, the Copeland Road or something. So I think that somewhere along the line we somehow got it together again. The Celtic were all over us in the first half. I wouldn't have been surprised, because I said to my wife, seriously, we're not playing that well here, and we need this mob better no score. But my goodness, our goalkeeper brought us some fabulous saves, really. But I'm intrigued. Did Brown go down saying somebody punched him, or I never saw that?
He held his face, Bridge. See, when the Stramash, wee Morelos was pointing up to him, and he carried on that Morelos hooked him, and he held his face as if. And see, when you see the replay, by the way, it's embarrassing. It really is embarrassing. But, no, that's what he done, Bridge. It was absolute farcical. It was all handbags, to be honest. But all I'm saying is, see guys like Kamara, who nice young boy, midfielder, smart player, but no, you don't usually see him getting right on about it. And by the way, he was right into Big Aya. He chased him, and Hingme got a hold of Big Aribo, got a hold of McGregor and shoved him away and all. They weren't letting him away with. Normally they would just take the crap, but they didn't today in that East match. And if you watch it all again, guys, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Can I ask you, Stevie, can I ask one question? You know that incident with Duffy, sorry.
Duffy.
When he totally took Kent right out of the game, and he didn't just a wee daft challenge and things like that. He meant to go for him. He went for the man entirely. And the size of him versus the size of Kent, for goodness sake.
Went for the man entirely, and it's down to, it just depends who's refereeing the game, mate, whether that was a red card or a yellow. It's as plain and simple as that. Or some referees might have kept that as a red, and obviously there's some, obviously no, but I think if Dingman never get beat on, never get sent off, that might have been a red card. It's just I think maybe Madden's kind of cracked it a wee bit, because there's already a player been sent off, or it might have been a sending off.
All right, we've been joined by a caller. Evening, caller.
Evening, how are you doing?
What's your name, mate?
It's Teddy Bear.
Teddy Bear. All right, mate. What's on your mind?
Bear. No, I actually was phoning up about the disaster, but you're finished talking about that.
Carry on, Teddy Bear. The floor's all yours, mate.
No, it's a long story.
Right, carry on, mate. The floor's all yours, mate. You've took the time.
Well, I'll try and condense it a wee bit, but I can't see you do it. I was a 16-year-old boy. Travelled down to Rutherglen to go on the Rutherglen East bus at Chapman's pub. Met up with my mates down there. One of the guys on the bus were headed on the Ibrox. We went up the stairs at Harrison Drive, 7013. And we always stood, just like Bridgman says, at the top of the stair, just around that area, but we couldn't get in that day. And we moved the line to the left, met in the centre of the covered terrace in there. And went down the rest of the time. And I got down into this bit, you could see, and no bad view. And I heard this voice from my back saying, "What are you doing here? Hope your mom knows you're here." And I looked up and my older brother.
Oh, your brother.
And it wasn't my dad. It definitely wasn't my dad. And we was so I have a New Year. He was 30-year-old. He was married, and we stood by him during the game. And when Johnson, we Cara, he did score. You know, we'd all just up a stair. Try to head for stairway 13, couldn't get out. Mobbed. My brother says, "Come with me." He took us in the stairway 19, Edmondson Drive, and walked down the Copeland Road onto the bus down at Fairley Street, waited for all the guys to come back. Ended up back in Rutherglen. The guys got off at the Chapman's pub, and the driver was going up to East Kilbride, and he always run us up. I lived up in the Spittle, and he always run us up and dropped us off. He came, nobody in the house. I went out for about 10 minutes. Duty good that night. My mate and I were going to the dancing up in Socky Hall Street, and my mum came in about 10 minutes later. Oh, she'd been doing the Paisley Road at her sister's, and she seen all the ambulances and found out that something happened. Come straight home, and she grabbed me, she nearly broke my ribs. She hugged me that hard. And then about 2 minutes later, she's hit me. And she says, "I told you not to go to that game. I bloody told you not to go to that game." So she says to me, What about Andy? I says, I come out the game with Andy, the two of us walked down Copeland Road together, and then we parted. She says, "You're sure?" I said, "Ma, I'm definitely, I'm telling you the truth." "What about Alec?" I says, "Ma, no, I come from a mixed family. Father's a Catholic. My mother was from a Roman family. So we different sides. My brother, another brother, he's a Celtic supporter. What about Alex?" She says, "Ma, if Alex was at the game, he's up the other end. But you know him, if he couldn't get a ticket for that end, he would come to the Rangers thing." I said, "Mama." So this is that wee mate comes in and he says, "What's going on?" And as I say, I still didn't know much about it. We'd turned the TV on and seen all the news coming in. But as I say, my wee mate came in. So my mum was still going on with my brother who lived in Portlock. And she says to me, "Going to go up and see him." And this wee mate says, "We'll go up. We'll go up and then we'll go to the dance." And she says, "No, you can't do that. I want to know." "I'll need to know." She says, "If you go to the dance, I'll know till you come back." So we walked down into Shawlands, up to Bollock. The fog had really come down by this time. Go to my brother's house, chapped the door. He has a chapped it again. And eventually I hear this voice from the top of the stairs. He's shouting down, "Who is it?" I says, "No, he's just at a party." He wasn't giving a fuck about it. Okay, he wasn't giving a hoot of anybody. He was away doing parties. We come back out. Sort of waiting for a bus at the Peat Road to go back down to Shawman so you can get a bus out of another one again. And the guy come along and says, "Buses are off, mate." I had to walk back home. No taxis, nothing. We go to the boat Kings Park Avenue, Kirkcart Road. The taxi came and flagged them down and says, "Will you take us up?" And I says, "I'll be okay. I'll be right," he says. "And I'll charge you a boundary charge and all." So we stick it. Eventually get home. Tell my mum what happened, you know. Oh, what a day. Never forget it. Never forget it as long as I live.
Listen, Teddy Bear, thanks for coming on and sharing that with us.
Aye, no bother. Sorry to take up so much time.
Oh, listen, mate, that's fine, mate.
But we had a great result today. Didn't play that well, but we had a great result. And I tell you what made it sweeter. It was a bridge ban, and it was our own goal bridge ban. You can't get any better than that.
I love it. And one of the ones you want to give you an own goal too. Absolutely.
Oh,
so that was I think Oxtail was mentioned earlier that the family McGregor were doing quite well for us today.
Yes. Yes, definitely one of the McGregors was definitely man of the match.
Aye.
In fact, I think maybe they should share it.
Aye, yeah. Listen, thanks for that, Teddy Bear. Brilliant, mate. Yeah, we really
enjoyed that.
Stuart, I'm going to go now, but have a good New Year, everyone. Take care.
You too, James.
Cheers.
Yeah, you too, James. Stay safe, pal.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye now.
There's nothing to worry.
Right, guys, I'll grab it as well.
All right, cheers, Teddy Bear. Cheers, Teddy Bear.
Cheers, guys.
Teddy Bear, thanks for the story, pal. Magic.
Bridgeman, you've nothing to worry about with him and the singer for that James from Tennessee. Right, okay. Pal. Obviously, we were only meant to go for an hour tonight, but because of the result, we went a wee bit longer. I want to thank everybody come on and sharing their emotion. It's a very emotional show. 2nd of January. It's over to Bridgeman.
Oh, what can I say? What a wonderful, wonderful show. A great tribute. Brilliant tribute. Well done to everybody. And it's marvellous that the Rangers people can get that together and do that on their own. And just fabulous. Just wonderful to think about it. And I'm involved with it all as well. So all of us are from a Rangers Radio perspective. So can I just say to all the Rangers fans all over the world, and particularly Rangers fans on here on Rangers Radio, box was ticked this afternoon. Tribute done tonight. Absolutely wonderful. All is well with the world. Everybody keep it going for the Rangers, because the Rangers really need us. Keep it going.
I thank all the callers tonight. I thank everybody for joining us. Thank first and foremost the technical team for helping put that together this afternoon, and also who put the shows on every night. Thanks to all the callers, all the boys that come in with their thoughts and their emotions. This has been Rangers Radio. We'll be back on Monday night between 8 and 10 talking about all things Rangers. We'll be joined by young GB, and we will get the view from a bridge. Thanks for listening. Happy New Year to everybody. Take it away, Old School Blue.
From Argyle, so young, to Glasgow City, they come, seeking fortune and a new way of life. How could they know ambitions would grow? Such a beautiful story, and here's how it goes. For lives had a dream to start a football team. They had no money, no kit, not even a ball. They still carried on. The Rangers were born. 54 titles, we're still going strong. So hoist up your Rangers flags, sing with your heart and voice, celebrate the greatest club in the world. Let our history show what we already know. We are the Rangers, the greatest of all. To start a football team. They had no money, no kit, not even a ball. They still carried on. The Rangers were born. 54 titles, we're still going strong. they still carried on. The Rangers were born. 54 titles, but still going strong. 54 titles, we're still going strong.